What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. It is very nearly there. Jack has got some of the bodywork, so he's painting that for me at the minute. He'll come back and get the rest of it later on. But just that way, if there's any problems with the prep work that I've done, he can point it out and I'll stand a chance of correcting it on that lot before he takes it away. So what I'm going to do in the meanwhile is get the clutch slave cylinder rebuilt and back in place, because that's basically the only hole that's left in the engine. And stupidly enough, first thing I wanted to do when I get the bike was just clean everything, but I've not been able to do it because there's been holes everywhere. So I'm pretty much at the end, and this is going to be the first chance I get to clean the bugger. So let's get this done. Right, so all you get in this is just like a generic jobby off eBay. But literally all you get is a spring, an oil seal and a doohickey for the bleed nipple. So everything's nice and clean. There's a couple of little marks on it, but you can't feel anything. The inside of the housing and everything else has gone through the ultrasonics, as clean as I'm going to get it. There is stuff right in the bottom there. I can't get to it, so it's staying. So let's just give this a quick goo up. Like that. It'll do. Right, then that's the inside, so he goes on that way. Like that. Which is all cool. Spring goes on the back. If that's the back. So he just clips it and that's it. Job's a good one. This should then slide into this assembly. Which he does. Awesome. Right, okay. So that is it, basically built. No, I didn't. I haven't got any more bleed nipples. I'll be replacing this one as well, but I mean, it's all right. It would just be nice to stick a new one on. But never mind. So he can go on there, he can get wound back in. Like that, and then this is just a spacer that sits around the base here. You know, just so it stands out a little bit from the thing. So I think we're all good. We'll give him a quick clean as well, and then we'll shove all this back on. Right, so he's all on, which is easy enough. We've just got to bleed it up now. So I've got one of these vacuum brake bleeding kits off eBay. That's all you get. I've had one before, they are quite good, but I'm trying to remember how they go. Right, what's that? Where does he go? Right, so that's how it all gets strung together. There is an O-ring that sits in the top of that cap just to seal everything. And you get various little doohickeys. I had to cut that one down just because it didn't sit down far enough. But he goes over top of the bleed nipple like that. and there is a rubber seal in there. I've put some brake fluid in there, and the idea is that you squeeze this and it generates a vacuum and it starts drawing stuff through. Supposedly. Did I open that valve? I don't know. No. Alright, here we go. Come on. Right then, I've been trying all sorts. It's been quite funny actually. That vacuum thing, that's junk. That's rubbish. It doesn't do anything. Thing is, all the unions and stuff on it is so leaky, you're just drawing in air from it. So I'm back to ye old faithful. I've just got 2 bits of clear tube with a one-way valve in the middle. And the valve actually screws apart, and literally all it is a ball bearing and a spring. So yeah, the fluid comes against the ball bearing, which forces its way past, and then when the pressure is released, the ball makes a seal in it. And this is working the best. I thought I would give these other things a go. Ooh, hello. Let's do that one again. I thought I would give these other things a go, because everyone's been chipping in with, oh, the back brake on this is a complete idiot to try and bleed. But this is doing brilliant. It really is. There is a bleed nipple on each piston, so I'm starting with the one closest to the reservoir. There's a little bit of air coming out of it still, not a lot. And it is literally just put the system under pressure by pushing the pedal, and then just release the bleed nipple so some of it comes off, release it, and it draws the fluid in back through the reservoir. The end of this tube is submerged. It's got a one-way valve in it, so it don't really matter, but you know, I've always done it that way anyway. But this is working well. I did start on the clutch. I gave up on that just because it's been a complete and total prune. But now I've switched back out to this way of doing it. I think I'll go back and give the clutch a go. How are we doing there? Oh, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. How are we doing? Oh, top him up. There we go. It's nothing more annoying than getting it just where you think it's right and you look up and the reservoir's empty, because you've got to start all over again then. Come on. Right, that's it. I need to chip off because time is getting on. It's damn near 1 o'clock and I've got my work to go to. This thing is junk. This thing is proper junk. And this is after trouble. Look, everything is just made cheap. See that barrel? It's supposed to sit in that curve like that. But it don't even sit in it, look. And because it's just got a pin here that holds it all together, the top sort of splays out. And as you start pulling on this, it just kind of starts rotating and eventually it pops out like that. It's junk. It also leaks air, which, you know, it's nice that they put a gauge on so you can tell that you're losing air. But it's rubbish. I thought I'd give it a go because somebody did mention, worst 20 quid I ever spent. It is rubbish. The only thing I am using it is the lines. I've got this thing, which the only time I ever use this is I just stick it on the calipers or the, you know, the slave cylinder or whatever, and just draw the initial load of fluid through. So I know there's fluid all the way through the system. And then I just bleed it conventionally. And I found the best way on this is just like a little one-way valve kit. Costs like £2.50 off eBay or something. And literally all it is there's a housing that screws together and it's just got a ball bearing and a spring in it. That's it. And it's clear tube, so you can see the air coming through and know when you're getting close, and it just does a great job. This is rubbish. Utter, utter, utter junk. I might repurpose that box. I might repurpose that box for the vacuum gauges, just because it will keep them safe and sound. But anyway, I had 2 hours today. All I wanted to do was to get stuff bled and get covers put back on, and I ain't even done that just because it's been a complete and total goon to do. And I wasted loads of time with that. So anyway, I'll get all this sorted out tomorrow, but I do need to chip off now. So I'll be back. I'm back. I'm back. It's Thursday and I've given up on the clutch. This thing has been a complete pig. I know you're all going to go, have you tried doing this, or have you tried doing that, or have you tried doing the other? So I'll tell you what I've tried, and it all failed. Ideally, I would have the slave cylinder higher than the master cylinder and just do it that way. Because then I know everything's going uphill. Can't do that though, because it goes like through the frame and it goes soft line, hard line, soft line into the slave. So, and I can't get the orientation, so that's higher than this is. So that ain't going to happen. I've got one of these, which ordinarily I just stick on the slave, draw fluid through, and then once fluid comes in here, I start bleeding it conventional style. You know, just bin this off. That didn't work. I'm not a fan of it, but I tried forcing it through the slave up to the master. That didn't work either. I mean, fluid got through and everything else, but I just can't bleed it. I tried conventional with a little bit of tube, you know, into a little jar, and you know, pump it and releasing the nipple, and then doing the nipple up and releasing it, sort of thing. You know what I mean. I've tried me a little bit of tube with a slit in it and a bolt in it. What else have I tried? I've got one of them bleed kits that's got the one-way valve in it. I've tried that. That didn't work. Nothing's working. With a clear bit of tube on the slave, you, as you pull the lever in, you crack the bleed nipple and you can see the fluid move a little bit and then it just goes back. That's it, just like that. And I cannot get fluid to go all the way through. And what I think is happening is I've got an airlock up here by where the banjo is, because the piston actually goes up. You know, so the pickup point for the fluid is here in the master cylinder. The piston travels up, and then this is where the banjo and the line goes on. And then it goes off down to the slave. And I think I've got air trapped up here that I can't bleed off. So there's 2 schools of thought. I have ordered, I'm not a fan of them, but it might help. I've ordered a banjo that's got a bleed nipple in it, because that way I should be able to bleed any air that's up there out and actually pump a decent amount of fluid through it just by operating the lever. So we're going to give that a go, because that's dead easy. Failing that, I don't like as well that I can't get the slave above the master, and I don't like that it's soft into hard into soft lines. So what I might end up doing is just getting a braided line that's the right length, and sort of routing it down on the outside of the frame down here, because there's, you know, the line runs down here to there. So it's only where it goes through the headstock up here, and there's a pickup point there that I can bolt it to with a P-clip. So what I might do is just replace that line and do it that way, because that way I can get the slave cylinder up above the master, if that makes sense. Because that would just make it easy. It would, wouldn't it? So anyway, that's on its way. I've given up on it for now, but I can do all that even with all the bodywork on, apart from this side panel. So that's fine. So what am I doing now? Well, everything is basically there, but it just suddenly dawned on me I've not even had the forks apart, so I don't know how old the oil is in that, and it's probably going to stink. The bike has sat there for 21 years doing absolutely nothing, so I know what's in there is at least 21 years old, and I don't know how old it was before, so it's probably minging in there. All the seals and all the rest of it, that all seems to be fine. The stanchions could do with a little bit of a clean up, just to make sure we're not going to eat any seals or anything, but I just want to replace the oil. So I'm going to have all the front out of it, just drain the oil, give it a damn good clean, and then we'll top it up with oil so I know it's all fresh. I've got some up there, and then button it all back up. Jackie's doing me painting. I'm hoping I'll get to see that later on. I'm hoping, but we'll see how we go. So that's what I'm doing now. Well, that's just stupid. Right, okay, so I've had these off. There's two of them, and they go on top of the yoke. Basically, it's just a riser. But essentially, the handlebar that you hang on to is, I'll get some pictures just so you can see, but it's basically like this, and then it comes up and you get the handle sticking out here that you're hanging on to. And it's just fixed in place with two bolts there. And these were shoved between the handlebar and the yoke. So I think it's just like a riser where you reuse all the old grips and stuff. It's just, it looks poo. It looks like, because you end up with this massive step in the yoke. And it makes it very sit up and beg, I would imagine, because that's quite a height. I don't do sit up and beg. I'm used to sports bikes and stuff, so I'm much happier being a bit lower down. But yeah, I'm not convinced. I'll keep them to one side. They might end up going back on, but I doubt it. Right, let's have a look at these forks. Right, so I've already loosened it. Which one was it? Was it that one? Yes. Right. Where's my socket thing? Oh, where's he gone? I'm gonna need him. I'll put it down and I've lost it. Right, so just loosen the cap off. Right, and go down, which is all good. You're going to stay where you are. I'll shove that in there. Right, so there's a cut out sort of washer spacer jobby thing there. It does pong a bit, but it's not horrible. And that'll be the damper rod. Well, that's a weird one. Got some burrs on the end as well. It's weird. It's like if you imagine just like a round bar. Oh, it's a bit rough there too, isn't it? If you imagine just like a round bar, but then it's got a flat side to it as well. So these forks, you've got one adjuster on the top here. You've got preload, which is that one, and then you've got one adjuster, which would be your rebound. On a normal set of forks, there is no compression adjuster, but I'm guessing, because this has got a flat surface to it, and there's some little rub marks down here as well, I'm guessing that goes into some sort of valving at the bottom of the fork leg, so as you turn this, you're adjusting both rebound and compression, at a guess. There's a couple of burrs on the end that need sorting, so, but the oil don't look horrible. Well, I mean, not massively. I don't know until we tip it out. It does pong a bit, but it's not like sludge, if that makes sense. So there's the spring. Does it say what weight it is? I don't think it does. Sometimes it's stamped on the end. No, mystery weight. Don't know. Progressive spring, so tight around at the top and the bottom. So that's all cool. Have we got any? We've probably got some spacers and stuff in there. Alright, let's tip it upside down and we'll see what goo comes out. That's not really old. There's not a lot of it either, is there, really? It's not old. Normally you start pumping it, you get loads of sludge and goo and muck and nasty coming out, and there's not really that much at all. You can still see through the oil. So I don't know, I mean the bike has definitely sat there doing nothing for 21 years, so it's worth doing this anyway, isn't it? This one looks pretty much in the same state as the other one. See, look, you can see through the oil. It's really clean. It just smells a bit. I suppose it's just old, isn't it? Right, so time's getting on again. It's down near 12 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is leave these upside down in a tub. It does stink in here. That oil is definitely old. It's not the best. The thing is, it's actually quite clear. You can see through it and stuff. It just stinks of like nasty, basically. There's no other way of saying it. It's just horrible. So we're going to let those drain out. Then I'll be back in tomorrow. We'll give them a clean out with a degreaser. Just, you know, pump it through and try and clean out whatever I can, sort of thing. I've got some more 10 weight fork oil, which is what would have gone in these originally anyway. And I've got the air gap and the little doohickey thing to set it over there, so that's all good. We'll just top it back up, stick them back together again. There is no point in stripping the whole thing apart. Everything seems to be working all right. The only thing I do need to do is dress up the ends of these damper rods, just because there's a little burr on the end and I don't like it. There shouldn't be a burr. So we'll get that lot done and then we should be in. So I'll be back. I'm back. It's now Friday and I'm just cracking on getting stuff done. So the forks have been drained overnight. They've been cleaned out all on the inside with just brake cleaner. Blown out. Dried off, blah de blah de blah, and I've just shoved them back in the vise. So with this, you're supposed to have, you've got to obviously put oil in here. It's like 458 mil, I think, if it's completely empty to get it to the right level. 390 if it's just got an oil change, because there's obviously residual oil and stuff in there. But the better way of doing it is just to measure the air gap. So I think it was, what did I say, 149 plus or minus 2 mil. So we're going for 149 on the button and we'll just see how we go. So all I've done is I've tipped about 400 mil of oil down this, and I'm just pumping it up and down to get the oil to go through all the valve gear at the bottom. And when you first start doing it, all you can hear is all like that. It's dead funny. I would show you, but I've already done it now. And what you're asking for is when you move it up and down, that there's no noise. Like that. You know, you can hear fluid and that being pulled through the valve gear, but that's it. So I think all the valve gear's flooded. That's ideal. Right, so he's basically upright. And then I've got my thing. Aha! Last time I saw something like this, I'm pretty sure it was in the hands of a doctor. That wasn't a good day. So all this is just a syringe, bit of hose. I've got a piece of straight bar and just a collar. So you set from there to there as the air gap that you want. The fork has got to be completely compressed, no spring in it. And then basically you shove that in there. And the idea is that you draw any excess oil off. Chances are I haven't put enough in. Come on. He's tight, isn't he? I might need a new syringe here. There's not a lot coming out. Is the end of that wet? Yes, it is. Right. So we should be in. It just needs a bit of shouting at. Come on. This syringe is knackered. So oil's coming out, and basically when you get to the bit where it goes, you're done. Like that. So that should give us the air gap that we're after. Ideal. Actually, I don't even need to stick that in there, do I? Not yet. But I'm gonna. No, I'm not. Right, so he's in. Air gap is set, that's all good. So we can shove the spring back in. They have had a bit of a clean off, but you know, do it again. That oil does stink now. I came in this morning and it was rank in here. So the spring can go back in. Close the coils at the top, just because that's how it came out. Then we can get the cap back on. Do the bugger up, do the other one. Right, it don't matter which one goes in which leg. I have had a stone and I've just took the burrs off the very end of this, just because, you know, there's burrs on it. You don't need burrs on it. So he can go in there. Try and find his hole, because there is definitely a hole that he sits in. Come on. Alright, there we go. So he's in. Get me a little spacer with a notch cut out of it, just so you can get it over the thing. Come on. I'm doing this all cack-handed, aren't I? Is he in? I'm not even sure he's in. Right, let's get this on the floor and try and wind that cap in. Rag down just to stay scuffing it up. Where's my thing? Is that the one? Yes, it is. Right then. Right, so he's in his own. Right. Lovely stuff. Right, one down, one to go. I think before I put them in, I've got some auto sole. I mean, there's pitting up here, which is between the top yoke and the bottom yoke, the travel bit. There is a tiny little bit of pitting starting. There's nothing rough or anything, but I think what I'll probably do is just go over this, make sure there's nothing, you know, you can't catch anything. I'll give it a polish up with some of that auto sole, which is just a metal polish, and then we'll shove them back in. So that's what I'm doing. Right then, so by the power of YouTube, it's all done. It has took a little while, and yeah, I've missed it. I do apologise for that, but I had a mate turn up and we've just been yapping about all sorts of stuff. But whilst he was here and we was having a chin wag, I just got on with it and got it done, basically, because I need to get it done. Curiously enough, I found that whoever put the forks in before and did those riser jobbies, where are they, these things? They did it wrong, basically. So this has got a recess in the bottom. Where are you? So it's got a recess in the bottom. You can see that there. The forks is supposed to go up and sit to there. So you've got the yoke on the bottom bit, then that, and then the clip-on goes on top. Well, the clip-ons have got that recess in as well, and the forks is supposed to go up to and touch that. And whoever put these forks back in, they didn't do it like that. They just had them sitting flush with the top yoke, you know, like you do on most bikes, basically. So essentially, this bike would have been like that. So I'm hoping that's going to help its handling, but we shall see. I've never ridden it, and I'm quite looking forward to it now. Everything's back on. It's all buttoned up. The banjo bolts with the bleed nipple in, they should be here over the weekend, I'm hoping. So with that, I can finally get everything bled. But now all I need to do is to give it a damn good clean, fix those 2 bits of bodywork over there that need fixing and sticking back together again, fill the tank, and give Jackson more stuff to colour in. He's already done the first lot. He messaged me, he said he looks mint. So I'm quite looking forward to getting the back on, and then you get to see what the colour's going to be, eh? So that'll be all right. But anyway, that's where I'm leaving it for this one. I'm cracking on with all this over the weekend. Plus we've got like the Thursday, Friday off next week because old Lizzie's having a bit of a do and whatnot. So I'll get some extra time in here as well. But I am hoping, if everything goes well, to see if I can't get this booked in for MOT on Wednesday. So I don't know what the date would be. Where are we now? Friday's, I don't know, like 2nd or something like that. But I'm hoping next Wednesday to get this booked in for an MOT and a dyno run. If it's all right on the dyno, then we'll just go with it. If it needs a little bit of monkeying about, then we'll monkey about with it. And then we're going to go out on a bit of a hoon, which I'm proper looking forward to. But that's where I'm leaving it for this one. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope you're well and staying safe. We'll see you on the next one. Laters!